In this video, I'm going to show you how to solve a linear quadratic system algebraically. So looking at this first example, right away I know that this is a parabola because I have an x squared, and this is a line because nobody is squared. So my parabola is already set equal to y. What I think I'm going to go ahead and do first is make my line set equal to y as well, because that's going to make everything easier. So I'm just going to move over this 1, and now I have that y is equal to 2x plus 1. Okay, one of the most basic methods for solving a system is what we call substitution. That means that since both of these equations are equal to y, I'm allowed to set them equal to each other, and I can drop the y's out altogether. So I'm going to start out with 2x plus 1 equals x squared minus 5x plus 7. Okay, so I can already kind of see that this is turning into a quadratic that I'll be able to solve, so I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move both of these over so that I'm set equal to 0. If I combine negative 5x and negative 2x, I get negative 7x, and positive 7 minus 1 is positive 6. So you have some choices now. You can try to do MAM, or you can try to complete the square. I think MAM will be a little bit faster here, so that's what I'm going to go ahead and show. So I need to multiply to 6 and add to negative 7. Okay, so if you've played around with the numbers a little bit, hopefully you've come up with that negative 6 and negative 1 will do the trick here. So I can go right ahead and make this x minus 6, x minus 1, and then I can just go ahead and drop and split. So I get 1x of positive 6, 1x of positive 1. Okay, now remember that with a system, you're really solving for the points where the graphs hit each other. So I have the x values, but now I need to know what the corresponding y's are. So I'm going to go back to one of my equations. I usually choose my linear equation just because it'll be a little bit easier. So I'm just going to substitute in my two values. So 2, inserting 6 for x, that gives me 13. Now I'll plug in 1, and I get 3. So that means my two solutions to this system are 6, 13. I know 13 goes with 6 because that's what I was plugging in when I got that answer. And my other solution is 1, 3. And so I have just solved this system algebraically. One way you could check this, if you really wanted to, is you could graph the line and the parabola, or you could graph them both in your calculator and look to see that those points of intersection match what you see. Okay, here's another example. This time around, I again have a line. I know that, again, because I don't have anyone who's squared. This second function is not a parabola because I actually have two squared terms. Both the x and the y are being squared, so this is actually a circle. We're not going to be able to solve this circle for y because, as you can see, that would require us to do a lot of double distributing and moving things around, and that's going to take a lot of time. So instead, I'm going to first solve my line for y, and I'm going to do a different kind of substitution. So all I would really need to do here is move over my 2x. So if y equals negative 2x plus 15. Okay, so since I don't have my circle as y equals, what I can do instead is just take what I just found to be equal to y and plug it in where the y is in the circle function. So I'm going to go ahead and have my x minus 2 squared plus, in place of y, I'm putting negative 2x plus 15. And then I still have that minus 1 squared equals 25. Okay, so now I just have a lot of expanding and distributing to do. So I'm going to make this x minus 2, keeping my plus. This is going to turn into negative 2x plus 14, so that's what I'm going to expand down here, save myself a little time. So now I'm going to have to do double distribution on both of these expanded terms. So if I double distribute this one, I get x squared. I would get 2 negative 2x's, so I'm just going to make that negative 4x, and then plus 4. Over here, I'm going to get positive 4x squared, and I'm going to get 2 negative 28x's, so that's going to become negative 56x, and 14 times 14 will give me positive 196. This is all equal to 25. I know the numbers look a little big and messy right now, but we should eventually be able to simplify this whole thing. So now I'm going to go through and combine any like terms that I can find. So I've got 5x squared Negative 4x and negative 56x makes negative 60x. And positive 4 and positive 196 makes positive 200. And this is all equal to 25. Okay. Finally, again, I'm going to be ending up with a quadratic that I'll need to solve, so let me set this equal to 0 by moving the 25. Okay. Now, again, my numbers are really big, but I think I can fix that by dividing everybody by 5 right now. I can tell these are all divisible because they either end in a 0 or a 5. Okay, I divide the 0 too because that means I can actually just get rid of that 5. So finally I have x squared. That'll give me minus 12x plus 35. Okay, so that's much more manageable. So again, you can complete the square or MAM. It's up to you. I think mamming will be a little bit faster here. So I have a similar situation to before. I have to multiply to positive 35 and add to negative 12. Again, stop and think about that for a second. Hopefully you come up with that negative 7 and negative 5 will do the trick. So x minus 7, x minus 5, dropping and splitting once again, I get that x is 7 and x is 5. Okay, so remember that this is a system, my answers are points, so I do have my two x's, but like before, I have to go plug them into one of the original equations to get my y's. So I think it's going to be a lot easier to use the line. Again, I don't want to plug into that circle if I don't have to, and I'm actually going to even use the simpler version of this line once it's been solved for y. So I'm going to flip to another slide since I'm out of space. I'm going to first plug in 7, negative 2 times 7 plus 15 should give me positive 1. Plugging in 5, I get an answer of 5. So if I look back at what my x's were, when I plugged in 7, I got an answer of 1. And when I plugged in 5, I got an answer of 5. And so those are my two solutions to my system of equations. As you can see, the circle and the line definitely took a lot more algebra, a lot more work, mostly because you had those two squared terms, but it's all very doable if you can keep everything nice and neat and organized.